Hey, how's it going? Haven't put a video out in a while. Just wanted to show you guys a car I've been working on this week. 70 Challenger RT convertible, owned by a buddy of mine. Had to do some correction stuff to it. Was restored. Only has about 50 miles on it since it was restored, I'm imagining, from what it looks like. Really clean car, California car originally. Did live in, I believe, Idaho for some years. But really clean car, no major panel damage ever done or repaired on it. It's a 383 car, 383 Magnum, air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, disc brakes, but column shift automatic. So it's column shift, very common. You saw that a lot. It's an early 70, so no wood trim in the door panels. Runs really good. Engine's been rebuilt. Drives really nice. All I had to do was put the correct master cylinder on it. Put a power steering pump in it. The one they put reman, but it was leaking. But it was leaking from the reservoir where the pump meets. If you ever know these pumps, they will leak where the reservoir meets pumps. If people damage them or bend them or anything. It's a common issue with them. Shift linkage, column shifter, the linkage was out of adjustment very slightly, but the owner thought it was really out, but it's just the way these column shifts are in e-bodies. You're actually pulling the lever like towards the column instead of back towards you because of the angles, a very severe angle. So I corrected that, put the correct disc brake master cylinder on it. Also had a wiring issue. Temperature gauge wasn't working. The sender was bad, but there was also wiring issues. It did have a damaged bulkhead where the main power feed comes through, which is very common on Chryslers. They're known to overheat that connection and create issues. So this had a occasionally no start condition. All taken care of. I do the bypass anyways, bypass it and do a solder joint, correct that so that'll never happen again. Other than that, everything else on this car is really nice. Like I said, just here for some minor corrections, but so it's a 383 with an automatic 70 RT. This motor was rebuilt. It does have a Edelbrock Performer RPM intake. Not a real fan of a stock appearing build like this. It sits kind of high, and you gotta actually be careful with the hood insulation. Obviously, you can see they did it as an afterthought because you can see how much higher the intake is. It has a Edelbrock ABS on it. It's actually a pretty good carb. I'm not a huge fan of the Edelbrock carbs, but these work pretty well compared to the old AFBs. And the old AFBs were good too, but just not a real fan. Me, I still love my thermoquads. It's got Magnum 500s on it. They never used 15-inch chrome Magnum 500s from the factory on 70 and up cars, but I have them in my Satellite too. They're a real good addition, and they look great. In the interior, it's an early 70, no wood grain here, vinyl seats, typical. Rally dash. The rally dash is the only way to go on an e-body. It's such a cool looking interior and gauge cluster. Standard AM radio car. But it is a 3-speaker dash car, so I'm wondering if this car was actually an AM/FM car. Manual windows. Like I said, column shifter. Look at how this column is. See the way the shifter, you move it towards the center of the column instead of back like on a normal car. So it's kind of a pain in the neck to actually make sure it's in park because you gotta go in with it. But not a fan of the column shift on an e-body. Let's take it for a ride. Noisy horn contact. A lot of these reproduction turn signal switches that also include the pin, or originally it was a roller, for the horn button is just a pin on the replacement ones, and they actually squeak against the ring of the horn. I've actually filed them off myself and got them rounder so they made less noise, but this one's pretty noisy. Nice firm shift. Brakes are good. Motor's been rebuilt, a little bit bigger than stock camshaft in it. Tell by the idle. I don't know what cam's in it. Yeah. It's got the Performer RPM intake, which helps the upper RPM. No turn signal. Oh, look at that last minute. Runs good for a 383. They run okay, but they're not like wow fast. I mean, and compared to anything new and modern, yeah, they're not that fast. This one's very smooth though. Like I said, this has the Edelbrock ABS on it, the newest generation. This one works very well on here. It's very snappy, but I believe they changed the discharge boosters on these. It's more of like an annular discharge, which definitely helps throttle response, because it definitely has good throttle response compared to the old AFBs. Pretty sure it's got 323 gears in it, 60 miles an hour at 2 grand, probably 323s. All gauges work. It's nice now. It has a temperature gauge. Didn't before. Even the rally clock works, but it's definitely been rebuilt. It's not the original movement. The original movement ones usually stopped working once they were a couple of years old. I have had a few that were the original movement and still worked, but it's very rare. I mean, it's pretty quiet in here. It's not really that rattly. E-bodies, especially convertibles, are notorious for rattles. When these cars were new, I talked to people that had them new. Actually, didn't even buy them. They looked at them when they were new because it was the new thing, and they couldn't imagine how noisy these cars were. I mean, these door panels are the first generation plastic ones, and they were so noisy. You shut the door on an e-body, it's unbelievably noisy. It's like, it feels like a piece of crap. I mean, it's really noisy and rattly. Where, you shut a door on like a 69 B body or 70 B body, and it's like dunk, and it's much more solid feeling. E-bodies were very, very rattling. Where people actually saw them newer and were like, well, the car's cool looking, but it's really kind of noisy and chintzy and cheap feeling. And this one's no different. The other thing with e-bodies, it's funny because a 71 to 72 B-body is pretty much the same front clip. It is the same front clip. Those don't get cowl shake that bad. This is a convertible, so you're going to get cowl shake. But even the hard tops get really bad cowl shake. And it's always been a thing. You see the hood and the fenders move around. The convertibles are a little worse. This one's actually very solid. It's very nice. I'm actually very impressed with the way this car rides. It's never been abused. Has all the original panels on it. Undercarriage, never any rust or rot. Like I said, it was a California car originally, most of its life. Really nice car. But it does feel like a typical e-body. Like if this thing goes over a bump, the back end, it's clunky. I mean, you can hear the rattles. The top's solid. Usually these tops are rattling pretty bad. This one's pretty quiet, like I said. It's got a nice exhaust note too. It just has mid mufflers or mid resonators, no rear mufflers. Most of these e-bodies came with, well, actually all these e-bodies, with a small mid resonator underneath the seat area because it's very small there, and 2 cylindrical mufflers at the rear. They're kind of quiet actually. This one's actually kind of deep. It's got a nice tone. Very smooth. Like I said, good temperature, good oil pressure. They're really nice cars. I'd put the top down, but I'm not a top down person. So. Let's see. 64 miles on this thing since the rebuild. Let's see how it is. Let's accelerate a little. And that's the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. Just wanted to share it with you guys, do a video of it. It's a really nice car, super clean, great driver. And hopefully now it'll be driven, since now this customer can actually drive this car without any issue and actually truly enjoy it. So anyways, that's it for this video. I'll have some more in the near future. It's been busy here at the shop, so I haven't got many videos out, but I'll have some more out soon. So anyways, see you next time.